What we're now going to look at is the third and final type of chemical bond that we're going to look at in this class. Metallic bonding is a bond that is going to hold metal atoms together. A metallic bond leads to the formation of what is called a metallic substance. So what you know so far is ionic bonds create ionic compounds. To classify something as being ionic, you either have a metal and a nonmetal, metal and a polyatomic ion and a nonmetal, or two polyatomic ions together. A covalent bond can lead to the creation of what's called a molecular compound that's just made up of nonmetals. And then a covalent network can also be created from a covalent bond in a covalent network compound. It's either going to be pure carbon, so that's carbon by itself, or it's going to be a compound that contains a metalloid. A metallic bond leads to the formation of a metallic substance that's just going to be made up of metals. So a metallic substance is held together by a metallic bond. A metallic substance is going to have a metallic lattice structure. So within that lattice structure, you have metal atoms that have low electronegativity values. So as a result, they don't have a strong hold on their valence electrons. The valence electrons are then able to freely roam throughout that lattice structure. The metal atoms take on a positive charge because of this. So you have these metal atoms that are positively charged and these negative electrons that are roaming freely. The oppositely charged particles are then kind of attracted to each other and everything's kind of held together like a glue. So in terms of the properties of a metallic substance, metallic bonds are strong. So as a result, they have high melting points and high boiling points, and they're generally going to be solids at room temperature. Within that metallic lattice structure, you have those negatively charged electrons that are able to roam and move around freely and easily. So as a result, metallic substances are going to be good conductors in any state. Think of a copper wire, it's in the solid state and it's still conducting. So something that's metallic will conduct in any state. So you could have a pure sample of a metal, and that could be a metallic substance like copper or zinc. But then you could also mix metals together to create an alloy. So if you take copper and zinc and you mix them, you're going to produce an alloy that's called brass. So now we have 4 different types of chemical compounds. You should be able to identify all 4 of them, and you should also know their properties as well. Try to group the properties. So for example, ionic metallic covalent network, they all have those high melting points, high boiling points. They all generally tend to be solids at room temperature. Whereas molecular compounds that are made up of those individual molecules and interact with those weak intermolecular forces generally have low melting points, low boiling points, and they tend to be liquids and gases at room temperature. In terms of conductivity, anything with a covalent bond really is going to be non-conductive. So that leads ionic and metallic substances to be conductive. But when they conduct is going to vary. Metallic will conduct in all states, whereas ionic will only conduct in the liquid and aqueous states when those ions can move around freely. An ionic compound will not conduct in the solid state when all of those ions are held together tightly in the lattice structure. In terms of their structures, they all have some type of lattice structure except molecular compounds that are made up of those individual molecules.